Clint Eastwood is the definition of tough. For decades, he's been the face of gritty westerns and action films, playing characters who are as hard as nails, unflappable, and always in control. His iconic roles, from the mysterious, gunslinging cowboy in The Good, the bad and the ugly, to the relentless, no-nonsense cop in Dirty Harry, made him the quintessential American hero. Clint Eastwood wasn't just an actor. He became the embodiment of strength, masculinity, and stoicism. On screen, he took on villains without batting an eye, and off-screen, he carried that same cool, controlled persona. But like any legend, Clint's story behind the scenes isn't as simple as it seems. While we've all seen Clint tackle bad guys and dodge bullets on screen, few know that the man behind those roles wasn't always as unshakable as he appeared. In fact, over the years, Clint clashed with some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. These weren't just minor squabbles. These were serious, personal disagreements that left a mark on his career and changed the course of some major collaborations. Clint Eastwood wasn't one to take nonsense from anyone, and when certain actors crossed his line, the tension was palpable. You see, Clint's reputation for being tough wasn't just confined to his on-screen roles. It carried over into his personal and professional life. He was known as someone who valued professionalism, discipline, and above all, respect. Clint wasn't one for distractions or egos on set, and anyone who didn't share that mentality was likely to feel his wrath. And if you think Clint's off-screen persona was just a carefully crafted image, think again. His fiery temper and low tolerance for inefficiency or drama were well known in Hollywood circles. Clint Eastwood wasn't one to take nonsense from anyone, and when certain actors crossed his line, the tension was palpable. But what happens when one of Hollywood's most disciplined, no-nonsense figures encounters an actor who doesn't fit his mold? What if that actor isn't just a difficult colleague, but someone who fundamentally clashes with Clint's way of working? Over the years, Clint found himself at odds with three famous actors, each of whom tested his limits and pushed him to the point where collaboration became impossible. These weren't just petty disagreements. They were full-on conflicts that forced Clint to make the tough decision to walk away from big projects and avoid future collaborations with these stars. The first of these infamous clashes happened early in Clint's career, when he found himself working alongside an actor whose wild lifestyle and lack of professionalism left Clint frustrated. It was a situation that revealed just how little Clint was willing to compromise when it came to his standards. Then there was the time Clint partnered with a powerhouse actor known for his intensity and strong opinions. This collaboration could have been a career-defining moment, but instead, it became a battleground of creative differences and egos that ultimately led Clint to distance himself from the project. And finally, there was an encounter with one of Hollywood's most unpredictable and controversial actors, a man who, despite being one of the greatest talents in history, was just too much for Clint to tolerate. In this video, we'll break down the shocking moments that led Clint Eastwood to refuse to work with these three famous stars ever again. Stay tuned, because these stories are filled with drama, tension, and some unexpected twists that might just change the way you think about Clint Eastwood. In 1968, Clint Eastwood teamed up with legendary British actor Richard Burton for Where Eagles Dare, a gripping World War II thriller that promised to be a box office hit. On paper, it seemed like a perfect pairing. Both were respected stars with undeniable screen presence, known for their sharp acting skills and commanding on-screen charisma. Together, they seemed unstoppable. But behind the scenes, things were far from smooth, and what started as a dream collaboration soon turned into a behind-the-scenes drama that would leave Clint Eastwood questioning the true meaning of professionalism in Hollywood. Richard Burton, who was already a legend in his own right, was known for his powerful, emotive performances on screen. However, off-screen, he had a reputation that was equally infamous. Burton struggled with heavy drinking, which became a problem during the filming of Where Eagles Dare. Clint Eastwood, by contrast, was the embodiment of discipline, efficiency, and hard work on set. He valued professionalism above all else, and when an actor's behavior disrupted the flow of production, Clint was quick to notice. Burton's drinking habits affected his ability to perform consistently. There were instances where he would show up intoxicated to set, and Clint, who was determined to keep the focus on getting the job done, wasn't pleased. Clint's frustration with Burton's lack of discipline grew as the production wore on. While Eastwood was known for his ability to remain calm under pressure, this situation tested his patience. He had no time for anyone who disrupted the efficiency of the shoot. The tension between the two men didn't lead to a public blow-up or an on-set altercation, but it was clear that Clint wasn't impressed. Despite Burton's immense talent, Clint couldn't ignore what he saw as a lack of respect for the craft and for the work ethic that he himself had built his career on. The animosity was palpable, but Clint wasn't one to engage in public feuds. He kept his cool, maintaining a professional demeanor throughout the production. However, his disappointment with Burton's behavior was undeniable. After Where Eagles Dare wrapped up, Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton never worked together again. It wasn't an open feud, but the absence of any future collaboration spoke volumes. Some speculated that Clint simply couldn't stand Burton's lack of discipline and felt that his commitment to professionalism was being compromised by Burton's erratic behavior. Others believed that their personalities just didn't mesh, and their working relationship had been a one-off rather than the start of a lasting partnership. But Richard Burton wasn't the only actor to challenge Clint's patience. In fact, Clint's next major clash came during the filming of one of the most iconic westerns in history, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This time, Clint found himself up against an actor whose reputation was just as formidable, someone who would push Clint to his limits in ways no one expected. It wasn't just the Hollywood tensions that defined their relationship, but the sheer force of personality and differing approaches to filmmaking that caused sparks to fly. As we dive deeper into Clint's film career, we'll uncover more about the second actor who tested Clint's tolerance, and how that conflict would leave a mark on his legacy. By the early 90s, Clint Eastwood had firmly cemented himself as not just a top-tier actor, but an Academy Award-winning director with a vision all his own. After achieving critical and commercial success with films like The Outlaw Josie Wales and $1 Million Baby, Clint was poised to take on more ambitious projects. When he cast Gene Hackman in Unforgiven, 1992, the pairing seemed like the stuff of legend, two Hollywood icons coming together for what promised to be an unforgettable Western. However, what began as a professional collaboration soon spiraled into a battle of wills. Hackman, known for his raw intensity and commitment to realism in his performances, was no stranger to challenging directors. In fact, he had earned a reputation for pushing back against authority on set. Clint, while known for being calm and collected, wasn't one to back down when it came to his vision for a film. Hackman's relentless questioning of Clint's directorial choices quickly turned what should have been a smooth shoot into a tense, high-stakes game of artistic control. The exact details of their conflicts are mostly kept under wraps, but sources close to the production claim that Hackman didn't always agree with Clint's approach to certain scenes, particularly when it came to the film's darker, more intimate moments. As a result, moments of frustration began to bubble up between the two. Hackman, used to his own way of working, found himself clashing with Clint's methodical, no-nonsense style. Eastwood, who had always prided himself on maintaining control behind the camera, found Hackman's dissent difficult to navigate. For Clint, it wasn't just about getting the best performance out of his actors, it was about staying true to his vision, even if that meant overcoming tension on set. Despite the underlying friction, Unforgiven turned out to be a masterpiece. The film went on to become one of the most critically acclaimed westerns of all time, earning Clint Eastwood his second Academy Award for Best Director, as well as a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Gene Hackman. The film also solidified Eastwood's reputation as a director who could command the screen, even when working with a talented but headstrong cast. Still, the behind-the-scenes tension had left its mark. Despite their success on screen, Clint and Gene Hackman never worked together again. While they both moved on to highly successful careers, the friction that arose during the making of Unforgiven left an unspoken rift between them. Hackman's refusal to back down from his artistic disagreements, combined with Clint's firm belief in his own directorial choices, meant that their paths would never cross again professionally. But if you think this was the worst creative clash Clint Eastwood experienced, wait until you hear about the one Hollywood legend that Clint flat-out refused to work with. This was a disagreement so intense, it changed the course of both their careers forever. Marlon Brando is widely regarded as one of the greatest actors of all time. His talent was unmatched, and his ability to bring raw emotion to his roles made him an icon. However, Brando was also notorious for his erratic behavior, and it was this unpredictability that made him difficult to work with. While many directors tried to navigate his eccentricities, Clint Eastwood was a man of discipline, order, and efficiency, and he was not one to tolerate unnecessary drama on set. At the peak of both their careers, there was a time when Brando was considered for a role in one of Clint's films. On paper, it seemed like an intriguing possibility. After all, Clint had worked with some of the most challenging actors in Hollywood, and Brando's talent was undeniable. But when the subject was brought up to Clint, he didn't hesitate. He shut it down immediately. Clint's decision wasn't personal, it was professional. Brando's reputation for lateness, unreliability, and constant demands on set simply didn't align with Clint's approach to filmmaking. While Clint was known for being fiercely disciplined and a stickler for staying on schedule, Brando thrived on spontaneity and emotion, often creating chaos rather than order. To Clint, this wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a roadblock to achieving his vision for the film. Brando, of course, had his own legendary approach to acting. He was known for completely immersing himself in his characters, often throwing out the script and improvising on the spot. This style was part of what made him so captivating on screen, but it also made him a difficult presence on set. Directors and co-stars alike often found themselves frustrated by Brando's antics. Whether it was refusing to learn his lines or showing up hours late, Brando's behavior often overshadowed his extraordinary talent. Clint, who built his reputation on being a consummate professional, had little tolerance for such behavior. He believed in sticking to the plan, working hard, and respecting everyone's time on set. For Clint, a smoothly run production was key, and any distraction, especially from an actor of Brando's magnitude, was simply not worth the trouble. Despite their shared respect for each other's craft, their vastly different approaches to filmmaking meant that the two men never worked together. Clint had no desire to deal with the constant headaches that would come with having Brando on set, and Brando, ever the free spirit, likely wouldn't have been interested in working under Clint's rigid, efficient approach. And so, the two icons of Hollywood history remained ships passing in the night, never sharing the screen, and never even getting the chance to try. In the end, Clint Eastwood made a decision that seemed simple but spoke volumes about his values. He didn't want the drama, the unpredictability, or the chaos. He wanted to make movies with actors who were just as committed to professionalism as he was. And with that, Marlon Brando's legendary unpredictability would forever remain outside the confines of Clint Eastwood's world. Eastwood's no-nonsense attitude was a key part of his success, but it also led to clashes with some of Hollywood's biggest stars. His strict professionalism and refusal to tolerate drama on set sometimes put him at odds with actors who worked differently. Don't forget to subscribe for more Hollywood secrets you didn't know about the stars behind the screen.